Hello, and welcome to the Ganru Show. I'm Golda.
And I'm Wanru.
And this is a podcast that's just like hanging out with your two best girlfriends.
It's like picking up the first round, even though you're the designated driver.
Oh, it's like finding donuts instead of kale chips at your office kitchenette on Friday.
It's like letting your honey have the window seat or the aisle seat, whichever one they prefer.
Oh, that's so sweet. In today's episode, we'll be talking about kindness and generosity.
And you'll find out why being kind is giving Golda literal physical pain.
Making me say that. And you'll also find out why you don't want to go to Wanru for advice on a pickup line.
Yeah, don't ask me.
No.
So let's get started.
First up, we are going to talk about the best thing that we heard this week. Wanru, what's the best thing that you heard this week that just got your engine going and feeling good, put a smile on your face? What's the best thing you heard this week?
Of course, like the other best things I've heard this week, I saw it on Facebook.
Oh.
Now, Facebook is usually like a garbage dump. But, if you like dig through once in a while, you're like, hey, this is like a treasure.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
Yeah. So my friends who are really into running have been posting an article about a very notable runner, a marathon runner, a Mexican-American named Guillermo Pineda Morales. His nickname is Memo. And the reason why Memo is so memorable.
Ooh, good one.
God,
Good one, Wanru.
Dad joke Hall of Fame. Anyways, why he's so memorable is that he is in his age group. He's 46 years old. He's one of the top 10 runners in the world. To give you an example, he ran the Boston Marathon in 2 hours and 28 minutes.
Wow. Okay, so just for the non-runners out there, marathons are what, 26 miles?
Yeah,
Usually
something like that.
the terrain varies depending on what city, right?
Absolutely.
And
yes.
what is the average marathon runner? What does the average marathon runner, like the pedestrian marathon
Let
runner?
me look that up right now.
But typically it's probably more than 2 hours and 20 minutes, right? Because when I think about even if I did like a 5K run, that would probably take me about 2 hours and 26 minutes. That's only a 5K run.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's not forget, these are for people who are actually pretty fit. Like if you're going to enter into a marathon, you have to qualify for it, right?
How do you do that?
You run other races and based on those times, right?
I see.
But the average U.S. marathon time for men, because, Memo's a man, is 4 hours and 22 minutes.
Wow.
Which is a pace of 9 minutes per mile. Almost 10 minutes per mile. That's an average pace for people who are competing in marathons. So if it's me, it's gonna take like 16 hours.
Wow.
Right?
Oh my goodness. Wow. So he did it in like half the time.
Yeah, almost half the time. Yeah.
Wow. That's really, really impressive. And why is that impressive for you? Why is that the best thing that you heard this week?
Because number one, he was an immigrant from Mexico. He crossed the border illegally, and he actually works as a porter in a New York City apartment building. Those are people who clean and take out the garbage and stuff like that. Yeah, and he was deported at one time.
Okay,
but he actually there was a small period where there was a grace period where you could apply. He applied and he became a U.S. citizen. So he's a U.S. citizen now. Mm-hmm. And every year that he runs, he continues to get faster and faster, setting personal records, meaning running in shorter times.
Wow.
Almost every year. So I checked recently because the most recent marathon he ran was the New York City Marathon. And it's a very competitive marathon. He ran that in 2 hours and 33 minutes, just 5 minutes slower than his personal best of 2 hours and 28 minutes at the Boston Marathon.
Wow.
Again, maintaining this incredible pace, which puts him for 26 miles at a 6-minute mile the whole time.
Wow.
Averaging 6-minute miles, which is insane. And just to give you, again, just like another benchmark, the winner of the New York City Marathon
For
ran
2019.
For 2019, ran it in 2 hours and 8 minutes.
Why?
So he's literally just 25 minutes.
My goodness.
After the lead. I mean, talk about someone who's in their peak shape, like a Kenyan, basically. You know, Kenyans are known for being these amazing athletes at running. So he's literally 28 minutes behind this Kenyan who's in his 20s. And here's a 46-year-old man running some of the best times of his life.
Inspiring.
Very inspiring. So in my mind, I was like, so he just ran 26 miles in 2 hours and 28 minutes? What am I usually doing in that time?
In 2 hours and 26 minutes? What are you doing?
What are you doing, Golda?
In 2 hours and 26 minutes?
Yeah.
Looking at Pinterest?
I have barely woken up, gone to the bathroom, had 2 cups of coffee, putts around the house. Maybe if I'm lucky, I've walked the dog already in 2 hours.
Yeah.
But not at a marathon pace, just walking around the block, right?
I think I have debated whether or not to take the trash out. And then I ultimately do not take the trash out in 2 hours and 26 minutes. But I'm kvetching about it the entire time.
Exactly. I'm looking for something to watch on Netflix, but I haven't actually watched anything on Netflix in 2 hours and 28 minutes.
I think this is a really great example of something to motivate us to be more productive with our lives, Wanru. Is that why you brought it up?
I just felt it was very inspiring that you can be so fit at such a, and as you get older.
Yeah.
And also another thing is he doesn't have a team of trainers.
Oh, really?
He just does it on his own.
He does it on his own.
He's a very simple diet.
Wow.
Very simple running regimen. He doesn't wear a Fitbit. He doesn't have an Apple Watch. He doesn't have a heart monitor. He just goes by he feels his pulse and he just checks the time and runs.
Wow. Very, very impressive.
Isn't that a cool thing?
Very, very inspiring.
Yeah. So anyways, that's the best thing I heard this week. Memo. Congratulations on your amazing time in the New York City Marathon. You're totally an inspiration to me. Oh, I ate, while he was running the marathon, I think I ate half a bag of Cheetos. It
was stress eating, probably. You wanted him to make his own personal record, right?
I was carbo loading, but not really. I wasn't running the marathon, but I was participating in the carbo loading section of it. Yeah.
I get it.
So that's the best thing I heard this week. What about you, Golda?
Beautiful. Mine is so touching, and I wanted to share something that aligns itself very well to our topic for today, which is kindness and generosity. And one of the things that I read this week that actually happened weeks ago, but I just am now catching up. In case you haven't heard, there is a former Steelers football player named Angelo Williams who lost his mom to breast cancer.
Aw.
And for the last couple of years now, he has been covering the cost of mammograms for women who cannot afford to get a mammogram.
Wow.
So this year he covered the cost for 500 mammograms.
Oh my gosh.
To honor his mom who died of breast cancer.
In which city?
I don't know, but
Gotcha.
I think it's through his foundation. I think it's probably nationwide.
Wow.
Another fact is that he lost 4 aunts to breast cancer before they reached 50 years old.
Oh my God.
So he lost his mom and his 4 aunts. So this is something that is very personal and near and dear to him. And
Wow.
he feels like he has resources. He has the finances. He wants to share in a meaningful way in honor of his mom and family members. And so he, I believe, is going to do this every single year through his foundation.
Amazing.
To think about the lives that he's saving for that, just sharing in his bounty, right? In his in the monies that it takes to pay for mammograms. There's a lot. I mean, going off another avenue here, there are a lot of folks who don't have any health care to be able to afford a mammogram, and mammograms are not cheap. So that was the best thing that I heard this week.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
2 athletes, the top of their game, trying to inspire and share their wealth with other people.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I would only hope that we can also be those individuals when we share our the results of our little social experiment.
Exactly. As the holidays fast approach, Golda and I decided to try a little experiment in generosity kindness, graciousness. What else? Giving for 2 weeks.
I'm so tired.
Oh boy. Couldn't wait for
exhausted.
When was it going to be over? Couldn't wait for it to be over.
Yeah, I had an alarm on my phone and tell me, no need to be kind anymore. And I'm like, yeah, MFers.
You've been so nice, MFers. You're so nice the way you say that. We were like, when can we get back to our crotchety, curmudgeon-y, selfish ways?
Yeah, I want to be a crank again. Enough of this kindness mumbo jumbo.
This garbage. No, but really, it was a very interesting exercise where we tried to be extra generous. Because I would say, Golda, we're pretty generous on a normal basis.
I would 100% agree with that.
No, okay. Well, there you go. We're in agreement. We don't have much room to improve.
But why not? Let's see what we can do. You know, Wanru, what they say that the secret sauce of happiness is born out of kindness. Have you heard this?
Who came up with the saying?
Psychology Today. I don't know who it was. Well, I mean, it's kind of like what they tell you, right? The golden rule. Have you heard of the golden rule? You know, it's treat others as you would like to be treated, right? Kindness is at the root of that. Studies have shown, Wanru, and I actually have a citation for this.
Oh gosh, here we go.
There is a study that was done at the University of British Columbia that said that there are several benefits to kindness and generosity.
All right, let's hear them.
Yes. The first is it releases feel-good hormones. Feel-good hormones, and it boosts serotonin. You're the scientists. What is serotonin?
Is
that a mermaid? No, that's Serafina.
Okay.
What's serotonin?
It's the feel-good hormone. You just put it.
Okay.
That's exactly what you just said.
So
right?
being nice and kind releases more serotonin, so it makes you feel good, right? The second is it helps reduce and ease anxiety.
Oh, that's good. I didn't know it did that. Okay, that's good.
And the third is that emotionally and physically, it's good for the heart. Yeah.
Emotionally and physically.
Yes. It being kind to people causes nitric oxide in blood vessels, which will then dilate your blood vessels or expand it. So you don't get like a heart attack or like a stroke or something.
So legitimately, it also is healthy for your heart.
Yes. And then subsequently, it helps reduce stress and it prevents illnesses. So there's a lot of value to this other than just, doing it because out of the kindness of your heart and because it's the right thing to do.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what did you do in these past 2 weeks to implement all of these attributes?
Well, I'll tell you something, Wanru.
What?
I actually came to a realization about myself in this 2-week exercise.
Okay, let's hear it.
So studies have shown.
Oh God, another.
I don't know if it's from the University of British Columbia, but studies have shown that as children, we are wired to be kind.
Oh.
We are wired to be kind as children, unless you're a psychopath child. That's an outlier. But for the most part, as children, we are wired to be kind. But then as the years progress, as we are influenced by outside influences, we begin to lose sight of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we acquire more responsibilities, we lose sight of the simple things of being a kind individual.
Golda,
right?
What unsubstantiated study are you citing for this?
It is an article on Facebook.
Gotcha. But you know what? I believe it. Because have you ever played with like a toddler and, you guys are like, let's say eating or you're feeding the toddler. What does the toddler always try to do?
Give it to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
You
wants
give him
you to eat it.
Yeah. You give him some Cheerios and he's eating his Cheerios with his hands and his, his wet saliva-ridden face. What does he do? He immediately or she takes a handful and tries to put it in your mouth.
Yeah.
It's so cute. It's so gross and still so cute at the same time.
There was this clip that Kristen Bell posted the other day. It was about a child that was sitting on the potty. and they're trying to make him go number 2, but he only goes number 1.
Oh God.
And so his dad is sitting right in front of him, trying to coax him into like going number 2.
Mhm.
And the kid is like, no pee, poo, and then no poo, pee. He kept going back and forth, and his dad started to laugh so hard that the dad started to cry laughing tears.
Oh, gotcha.
And then the little kid, in the middle of saying this mantra of no poo pee, no pee poo, looks at his dad so concerned, puts his little pudgy hand on his dad's face, says, "Oh, cry," like trying to comfort his
Console
dad.
his dad in the middle of his potty session.
Yeah. So, I mean, and this kid must have been maybe 2 years old at the most. Another example
Aw.
I saw recently was, as we just passed Halloween, a kid said to his mom, "Oh, my friend Jonah and I, we're going to go as twins for Halloween."
Mhm.
Right? And then they showed a picture of this kid. I'm just going to call him Brian and Jonah. So Brian is a Caucasian little boy of 5, and Jonah is an African American child, his classmate. So they saw no color lines. They saw no difference. They saw themselves in each other. And I just think about things like
Aw.
that, where in children, and we're bred initially to be kind, right?
Well, that's all fine and good.
Okay. Dark cloud.
Here comes reality stick.
Yes.
Coming down to beat
Yes.
down on you. So what did you learn in the 2 weeks? You said you learned that you're a child inside and you're just like these children. Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is that I felt like I had to get back down to basics, Wanru.
Oh.
I had to get back down to basics. I couldn't do the complicated random acts of kindness that are all over Pinterest. All of that seemed very overwhelming to me.
Right.
So I had to get back down to the basics.
Okay,
I got to learn before learning the chords.
Gotcha.
So the first thing that, you start thinking about all of those nice things that your parents taught you, like just manners stuff.
Yes, manners.
That's what I mean with getting back down to basics. So I was a lot more cognizant of the basics for myself and in others, which I had to be very careful of, because I could be judgy if other people weren't being nice.
Yeah. In what way were you
As an
trying
example,
to be more generous in your manners?
Absolutely. One way was holding the door open for people.
Always polite.
See how basic that is?
Always polite.
But the flip side of that is that I started noticing how other people did not do it. And I bit my tongue with any snarky comments like, "Thanks for opening the door for me, dipshit." I didn't say it. It was in my mind, which I believe was an act of kindness.
Very kind of
See how
you
we
not to
twisted
say
that
that.
around?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was that. So I ended up holding doors open more for people. A compliment to that is, when driving, if someone's trying to merge to my lane, go ahead for 2 weeks.
Whoa.
I will let you do it for 2 weeks.
Whoa.
And guess what? I'm going to give you a lot of room for you to merge to the lane, even though it's a long line of people waiting to exit, and you're skipping the whole line like a little dipshit. I'm thinking it. I didn't say it out loud.
You didn't say it out loud.
But did I let that person go? I did. For 2 weeks. It's over.
It's over. It's done.
So there is that. So those are some of the basic stuff. The other thing that I reacclimated myself on was smiling.
You smile a lot. No?
No, I
No,
don't.
you don't. You
I
realize.
only reserve it for this podcast video version. But normally, under normal circumstances, I have a furrowed brow, and
A
you
scowl.
don't see the teeth. You just see judgment
She
on
can
my face.
barely muster the energy it takes to be friendly in the 1 hour for this
Yeah.
podcast. It's a lot of energy.
It really is. I have to take a sauna bath afterwards.
A finished sauna bath and then
Yes.
beat yourself with sticks to reinvigorate yourself.
Yeah, with a combo of the sticks and sugar and salt scrub together, working in collaboration with one another, yet also canceling each other out.
She has to do a dry rub, almost like a brisket or something,
It
to
really-
re-energize her body.
Yeah, I gotta let it soak in. I don't wash it away right away. Anyway,
Anyways.
another episode for my bath rituals. But smiling more often. And guess what? When I relearned something that I used to do, because I used to be a receptionist.
Oh.
When I was in college, I was a receptionist.
Oh, that's
And
something I
that
learned.
was something that I used to do automatically. The UPS person comes in, smile automatically. And then I would garner a smile. I would earn a smile from that person. Or an executive comes in, or a colleague comes in, you smile. Or even just walking down the street, you make eye contact with someone, you smile, they smile back. So it's almost like you're triggering these good feelings and good thoughts. So that was really easy and simple to do, but something that I have not done in a while.
So how does that differ from your day-to-day when you're not smiling?
What do you mean?
Like before you started this practice for these 2 weeks of smiling more, what was your day-to-day interaction with people? It'd just be like nothing, right? It'd be a nothing
It would
interaction.
be neutral.
Neutral or nothing.
Neutral expression or nothing or scowl
Or scowl.
or cranky face or judgy face.
And what were the reactions you were getting back?
Oh, from the scowl and the cranky and the judgy
For
face?
any of your normal behaviors?
An aversion to eye contact with me. Or just, kind of floating through life, right? Versus when you smile with someone, it forces you to be in that moment, which
True.
I think is valuable.
True.
So that was another basic thing that I did. One thing that I've done a lot of recently in the last 2 weeks was, how when you think of kindness, kindness can also be in what you don't say versus what you say.
This is very deep, Golda.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man. So even though I was thinking it, I didn't say it. That's kind.
That's very kind.
It's kind not to say it. And knowing me, I'm such a sayer. I say stuff. But for 2 weeks, I didn't. I just, I just let it wash over me and not say it.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
How much does your tongue hurt now?
Man, can I just tell you, my whole body is one big tense
Muscle.
organ. Yeah, muscle.
Because you were not speaking it, you were embodying it into your body, and then you're biting your tongue a lot, right?
Yeah, I should have learned from Bruce Lee, who says, "Be like water."
Oh,
Right? Or
yeah.
let it roll over you like a duck. Isn't that the saying? Like let it wash over your back like a duck.
Like water off a duck's back.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I did not. I internalized it.
You guzzled it down.
Yeah, really bad migraines, by the way. But I was kind.
Okay,
Right?
later on,
Is that kind?
towards the end, we'll evaluate which sort of behaviors we want to take with us and which behaviors we kind of want to let go. But what was the difference with biting your tongue versus not biting your tongue?
It forced me to listen more thoroughly.
Okay.
And actually, it was good because versus where I tend to be a problem solver. So when I hear something that someone
Right.
says, I'll jump to a solution right
Right.
away. But because I didn't say anything, it almost allowed that other person to come up with their own solutions,
Oh, that's brilliant.
which is nice. That's a nice byproduct of this whole thing. So I think that it was a kind thing because if I had inserted myself, then maybe I'm giving them the wrong advice or, indirectly giving them an opportunity to go another path that may not have been the most useful.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, these are all amazing.
Yeah. But then
Where?
I had some really highfalutin
Okay.
kindness ones that I was thinking, I'm going to do this.
Okay.
And then I didn't do it.
What were you planning to do?
Well, I wanted to write Post-it notes
Okay.
in random places with positive affirmations.
Oh, how nice.
Kind of like you go to the ATM and there's a Post-it note that said, money isn't everything.
Oh,
Or at your place of employment and you just write at the elevator a Post-it that says, you're enough or have a nice day.
I think at the ATM, a good one would have been, don't forget your debit card.
Oh, good one.
That's handy.
Yeah, that's
handy.
a good one.
Yeah.
But I didn't end up writing those Post-it notes.
Okay.
I will save it for another day.
Another
of
experiment.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then another thing I had read that was a good random act of kindness. There's like a whole movement, this about random acts of kindness.
Wow. Serotonin seekers, clearly.
Yeah. One idea was buy a bunch of lottery scratchers and just leave them at random places. But you know what?
What? I don't know.
I think that's a little superficial.
I have my own thoughts on that, which I'll share later. But
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Not feeling the lottery scratcher one.
Yeah. Another one that was a cousin to that idea was bring a jar of pennies to a wishing fountain and just leave it there.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a lot of wishing fountains in people's
any.
towns and cities, so I decided not to do that.
Don't recommend that. Okay.
I don't think that's a good one. Oh, here's the one that I need to do that seems easy enough, but I didn't do, but I wish I did.
Yeah.
Was to help someone before they ask you. Help someone before they ask you.
But how do you even know they need your help?
I don't know. And then you have to be really, really careful, right? Because you might inadvertently insult them.
Right.
Like if I went to my boss and said, "Here, I bought you, a looser pair of jeans." That's probably not a good gift.
I've noticed some changes in your body scent.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might have run out of deodorant. Here's 5 more sticks. Here's a pack of mints. I'm just assuming you've run out because your breath is just really kicking today.
Or I noticed that you drink soda every day at lunch. Here is some water instead. Might not be. So, I mean,
that one's a little tricky.
It's a little slippery slope.
That's a little difficult.
Yeah. Anyway, what about you, Wanru? I feel like I'm going on and on. What were some of your kindness exercises that you did?
Well, I love listening to you because you're so enthusiastic about this topic. So that's great. That's why I like to listen to you. So I try to express generosity and kindness in 4 different areas.
Let's hear it.
Area 1, tips, like financially, like cash. Number 2, by expressing in a written way. Number 3, expressing in a verbal way. Number 4, by giving my time. And
wow.
I don't know why I'm using my voice. My voice becomes so like, well, I don't know why I talk like this when I talk about being kind, but I just felt so nerdy about it. Like, I'm going to express my kindness in 4 categories.
Interesting. Are you going back to when you were a child, perhaps, and you were taught this by teachers?
Oh.
Because maybe that's your teacher voice?
Oh, geez. Maybe it is. Yeah. So I'm sort of like embodying my own teacher, if you will.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, well,
so the first category was?
Giving tips.
Okay.
And my tip for giving tips is make sure they see the tip that you give.
Oh, totally.
Right, Golda?
Totally. Yeah, but then doesn't that go against your own internal growth?
No.
Why do they have to see it?
No, because you need them to know that this is deliberate. That's what they need to know, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is I went to the car wash and I had just come from the ATM. I gave the guy a $20 tip.
What?
This is day 1 of my kindness exercise.
You gave him $20 tip?
$20.
Did you mean to do that?
Yes, it's part of my exercise. It's part of this
wow.
gratitude. See how I care about this podcast, Golda?
That's wonderful. You put your money where your mouth is.
But then he didn't see it because I put it in the paper, the receipt. And then I palmed it. I should have palmed it. I should have been like, snap, snap, snap. I should have like held that 20 out, like, and rotated a couple of times.
Oh my goodness.
I palmed it. I go, thank you so much. So I gave him the verbal affirmation. Then I gave him a 20. He's like, thank you. And then he just sent me off on my merry way.
Okay. But didn't it make you feel good other than him? No.
I wonder if he knew that my choice was deliberate.
Oh.
Whereas if he goes, oh, wow, he'd be like, are you sure? Or thank you so much. I go, no, it's my pleasure. Or thank you. Right? Then we know it's on purpose. What if he thinks that I just messed up somehow?
Oh, I see.
Right? And then,
see.
When you're putting the tip in the tip jar, usually for a coffee shop or something, make sure they see you. Make sure that eye contact happens.
Yeah.
Because they already got some ones in there. So if you put a 5, how are they going to know you're the $5 person or the $1 person?
I feel that way when I go to Tender Greens, which is this salad type place in all over the country.
Yeah.
There's a jar because they don't take cash payment now, which I don't necessarily agree with.
Nor
Tender
do I.
Greens, you should not do that. But
I agree.
but there's a jar for tips, and I must admit that I do make a big to do before I put money in there. So you can put the tip on the credit card receipt,
Yes.
or then I just put cash
Mhm.
for the tip part, and I'm like, going into my wallet, and I'm like waving it around. And I'll talk to them. I'll make some conversation with them as I'm putting it in the jar.
Gotcha. And why do you
Yeah.
do that?
So that they can see that I'm doing it.
Right. And
What does this say about us, Wanru?
we need to get our validation for being a good person.
Oh, we need to work on ourselves.
No, but the point is with the 20 is I wanted to know that it was a deliberate choice and not an accident.
Okay.
I wanted it to be like, oh, whoops. Oh, whoa. No. Can you give me that back? Can you make change?
What were you expecting? Were you expecting them to say, what?
Yeah.
$20 tip?
Yeah.
You're a saint.
Exactly. Especially since my car wash was $14.99. Okay? I used the coupon.
Wow.
$14.99.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Okay. A tip about tips, by the way, for those of you who want to be more generous. I always try to give my tip in cash, because what happens is when you put it on your credit card, the credit card company takes a small percentage as their fee.
Yeah.
So what happens is the worker will actually get a smaller percentage of that tip. And on top of that, I'm not always sure that the owners of the restaurant pass that money along, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's cash, they could put it right in their pocket, or they put it in their tip bucket and they spread it out amongst all the people, you hope.
Yeah. I've known some wait staff in my history who said that exact thing.
Yeah.
If you can, try and give the tip in cash and the actual payment of the food and on your credit card.
Yeah. And then you get the bonus of all that eye contact, right? Like, hey, this is going in the tip jar. Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Okay.
All right.
So first exercise was just giving more tips, and I realized it was more beneficial if they see you doing it. And number 2, I wrote a card to a friend who was having a little bit of a rough time, and I didn't get a response, but this is actually okay. This is one category where I was like, you know what? I'm just setting it out there. It's always nice to get a written card, right, Golda?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Everyone loves snail mail nowadays.
It's so quaint.
Yeah. And then, just like a lot of things, my friend didn't really see it because it was kind of amongst some other gifts.
Yeah.
And then about a week later, she reached out and she said she loved the message in the card.
Nice.
So a nice little surprise for her. And even if I didn't get a response, I would have felt really good about doing that.
Interesting that it didn't matter to you what the response would be with the card, yet you really wanted a response from the tip.
$20. $20, Golda.
Why? We'll come back to that. Okay,
we'll circle back to my psychological issues. All right.
Okay, so your third bucket.
Third bucket was verbal, and this is very easy because I realized that I'm already quite in the habit of giving a lot of verbal affirmations and a lot of thank yous, and I'll tell you later about how that came full circle. Actually, weird. It's kind of weird. Actually,
okay.
So this was not hard to do, but just took a little extra time to say thank yous.
Yeah.
And then lastly was the generosity of my time. So normally I would not have responded to this, but my friend works for the Rose Parade, the Tournament of Roses here in Pasadena. And the Make-A-Wish Foundation?
Yep.
It's a foundation that grants wishes to very sickly children or children who are going through a hard medical issue. And so Make-A-Wish reached out to my friend who works at the Tournament of Roses, and they granted a little girl, her name is Rose, her wish of being a Rose Parade princess.
Oh, that's sweet.
So they actually had a little Rose Parade for her.
Nice.
So everyone volunteered their time. Like they got a horse and carriage. Man, oh my God, this horse and carriage. I wish I had gotten the name of this organization. I would love to give them a plug. They put glitter on the horse's ass.
What?
So the whole horse, which was white, immaculate, groomed, braided, ribbons, had glitter from head to toe.
Wow.
Including the butt. The butt was really glittery.
Oh my.
Still smelled like a horse, but from afar it was very amazing. It was like majestic. Anyways, so of course they needed parade attendants, right? So everyone gave their time, meaning the whole Rose Parade Princess Court was there, right? Like this year's what do you call it? Rose Parade princesses, and the queen was there.
Sure.
They dressed her up. They got her a tiara. She came out, and then the audience waved, and that's how I volunteered, is because she needed people to be Rose Parade attendees.
Mm-hmm.
So I just drove out. It was just only took like 2 hours. You go out there, you hold a sign, you cheer for the little girl. She gets in the carriage. She literally goes 1 block around the block in the horse and carriage. And then you just run along the parade route and shout and hold there, and you cheer and you hold these signs. And that was the gift of my time.
That's fantastic.
It was lovely. It was great.
And how much time did you spend doing that?
About 2 hours.
Aw, that's a good 2 hours well spent, I feel.
Exactly.
Imagine just the impact, and hopefully, maybe made her forget for just a little while
exactly
what she was going through, and her family maybe too, right?
Exactly. And actually, the thing about the serotonin and feeling good and stuff like that, it's infectious, because all the volunteers there were in such a good mood.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was so positive. I saw a group of 5 or 6 guys. They look like college students. They were so cute. They had brought roses for Rose. And they were throwing flowers along the path as the carriage went by. So, and then of course, not to mention all the Tournament of Roses volunteers who work really hard all year for the Tournament of Roses. They came out on an extra day just for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And then lastly, so maybe this was a little benefit for myself as well, but but they had a very attractive policeman who played her Prince Charming.
Aww.
Okay, and this guy, I was like, he's a combination of all the Disney princes. He looks like Aladdin mixed with that guy from like Sleeping Beauty. Like, I'm like, where do they get this guy? Is he
a real policeman?
He's a real policeman.
Oh, okay.
So after he escorted her to her carriage, and then afterwards, when the whole thing was over, I of course approached him to thank him for his, for his volunteering.
Uh-huh. And then?
Right.
And then he's like, I have a date with my boyfriend. What do you want, lady?
Exactly. Okay. Again, this guy, I don't know where he got him, but he was like, perfect. I said, oh, thank you so much for volunteering. Like, how did you get involved? He says, I just work for the Pasadena Police Department, and Make-A-Wish reached out to us, and
I wonder how they found the good-looking one.
Oh, well, I don't tell you how. They reached out to the PR person of the Pasadena Police Department, and the Pasadena Police Department knew exactly who to pick.
Oh, I see.
Because he said, my sergeant just told me to come today.
Oh.
And I was like, I think they know who to pick. But he was, honestly, his behavior, the way his demeanor was perfect. And he even said, I've never been anyone's Prince Charming before. I hope I did a good job.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that. You just
look at that.
It's sickening.
And you fell for it.
And I fell for it 100%. I said, oh, you did a very good thing. Maybe you need to do a bad thing later today.
What was your comeback to that when he said that? I'm curious now.
I just melted into a puddle.
You didn't say anything?
I was like, oh, that's great.
Oh, no, girl. you needed to use that up. That was his, I would imagine, that was his way to get you to say something.
No, what would I have said? Okay, I'll be the guy, and then you be me.
Oh, I'm you?
Yeah, just say,
okay, so
thank you for volunteering. You'll say to me. Go for it. This is Golda being me.
Okay, so again, to revisit, you are a Prince Charming police officer.
I'm the volunteer police officer, extremely dashingly handsome. All right.
Yes,
and you're
then I'm Wanru.
Right.
Okay, and I'm doing it what it should have been.
Okay.
Right. What it should the conversation that should have happened.
All right, and I'm just hanging out by my police car. Okay, and then here is Golda portraying me coming up to me.
I'll be you.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So you're just hanging out, police officer, by your car. Okay, and then I'm gonna saunter over to you. I'm gonna saunter really slowly and catching the sunlight in my hair, and I'll be like, "Woo, woo, pull over." Hi, officer.
Excuse me?
I said hello, Officer Charming. Is that your name? Officer Charming?
That's not my real name, but thank you so much.
Could have fooled me. Hey, so listen, what you doing right now? You gonna go back to policing?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and catch up on my paperwork because I'm not getting paid to be here today, so I still have to go back and finish my work.
Oh, look at you. You mean you spend your day off to help this organization?
It's so worthwhile. It's so worthwhile. You know, just seeing that little girl's smile on her face made my day.
You know what would make my smile come on my face? You know, hey,
pardon me?
sorry for laughing.
Pardon me?
You just make me so happy with your face and other things.
Well,
You know
thank you so much.
you
It's
kn-
quite a compliment. I really appreciate
You know
that.
what would make me smile similarly to the little girl smiling?
What's that?
Do you like?
You can't.
What do you feel? How do you feel about fried chicken?
I happen, well, you know, to maintain my 6-pack, I actually eat low carb, but
That's cool.
I know it's delicious.
That's cool. What about some Brussels sprouts? You like some
I
roasted
love-
Brussels
I
sprouts?
love roasted Brussels sprouts. One of my favorite
Oh,
vegetables.
you're in luck. I got a new oven. I just live 2 blocks away from here. Would you like to see my oven? We'll
Oh.
grab a bag of Brussels sprouts on sale at Ralph's.
Sounds great. Why don't you get into the back seat? And just to let you know, there's no handles on the inside of the back seat. So once you get in, you're not getting out.
Oh, you gonna cuff me?
Reenactment of what
And scene.
should have gone.
See what I'm saying? I mean, there's missed opportunity, Wanru.
Missed opportunity.
Come on.
I just have to say,
We totally went sideways on the kindness.
yeah, you know
topic,
what?
by the way.
Just because you're being generous doesn't mean you can't get some benefits, right? Some benefits.
Yeah, little side dishes.
Side dishes, Brussels sprouts, and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Paperwork.
Paperwork. Off duty. Anyways, so that was the gift of my time.
Awesome.
And-
Love it.
And yeah, so I try to hit one of those categories. So wrapping up, by the way, did you do any more?
I did. I
Oh,
did
you
one.
tell
I
me.
forgot
Tell me more.
to mention one thing. I've noticed that the acts of kindness that you do that don't necessarily involve a whole ton of money are usually the ones that are the most satisfying.
Yeah, actually, that's kind
Right?
of
Like the tip thing. That's more stressful than it is actual. I'm sure it would help that person, but then for you, it feels a little uneven because you want something out of it, right?
I'm saying, excuse me, excuse me. Before I drive away in my car, did you see how much? Okay, I just want to make sure.
You should have put a Post-it note on the 20 to say, I purposely gave you this 20. My name is Wanru. No. Anyway, so I did notice that the
Yes.
things that don't involve a lot of money usually are the most gratifying.
Okay.
One of the things that doesn't cost a lot of money, but also will help in terms of putting out good energy into the world is to leave a positive review for a lesser known author
Oh, wow.
or podcast. Leave a really nice review. Like, especially for those, types of individuals who are still kind of in the early stages, or maybe even those type of organizations that you love, or a restaurant or service that you have all the time. Or if you go to Ralph's and, Francis really helps me all the time writing something about Francis and, on Yelp or something, like write a really nice review versus I know a lot of reviews tend to be that are actually posted are more negative of a slant, but write something positive. So I posted a really lovely, I think, review for one of my favorite podcasts,
Which is?
but they've been around for a while. So I kind of went against but I love them so much. I did a review for the Satellite Sisters.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
I love them.
Wonderful.
Love them so much. And I've been meaning to write a review for the longest time. And I, finally did it. And I put a lot of thought into it.
That's
But
very
it
important.
cost me nothing to do.
Mhm.
Just my, time to write it and to put in my phone and press send. And that was it. And I think that would make a big difference. If anything, it would help not only people who are looking for other podcasts to listen to and are looking at recommendations, but also it's a nice thing to do for the people who you're talking about.
Mhm. It would be a nice thing for us. So if you haven't written a review yet, we would love that.
And that this was not in any way sort of a way to
Yes,
sort
it
of
was.
to get a review of us. What initially I was thinking of was like, oh, maybe like an author or something. And then I'm like, oh no, let's do a podcast because that's more closer to home, I feel like. So
we would appreciate your review so much that Golda will cook you Brussels sprouts.
In my new oven.
In our new oven.
I don't have a new oven. That was fiction.
Fiction. But she will get a new oven to cook you Brussels sprouts.
Yeah. So that was one that I forgot to mention. That's relatively easy to do. Yeah. And the other thing that I thought would be that I forgot to mention was check in with elderly family members or neighbors that you know. Just check in, say hi, hello. Especially around this time of year, it's a little harder for a lot of folks. So just kind of reaching out, whether it's over the phone or in person, or like what you did, Wanru, writing a note, I think would mean the world to those individuals, or maybe individuals who are going through something right now. Or who are experiencing some hardship.
Did you do that? Did you reach out to a family member or an elderly person?
Well, neighbor wise, I've noticed that I'm a lot more cognizant of, instead of just waving hi, hello, is stopping and talking to elderly neighbors. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And that's, again, the generosity of time that you're giving them.
Yeah.
And your attention.
I think those are the things that when you're building your kindness reserve and your kindness sort of platform, I think to just start with some of these simple things, just reintroduce yourself to these things that you may have lost touch with because you're busy or stressed or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And get back to basics, and then you can build off of that.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's sum up. What did we learn in these 2 weeks? Like, for example, what do you feel like, oh, that was unexpected? Or, you know what, I'd do that again. Or, you know what, I will never do that again. Any lessons?
Any lessons? Well, I'm trying not to make the lesson about me because I want this to be more generous than like, look at me and all my growth. I don't want it to be that.
No, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Oh, about me?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like I definitely, if you're not mindful, if you don't pay attention, before you know it, you can wake up and discover that you are a curmudgeon-y crank.
Yeah.
So if you're not careful and if you're not aware and you don't do these types of, I feel like kindness and generosity is actually a meditative practice.
Nice.
You have to be mindful of it.
Nice.
On a daily basis. And it was interesting because when I thought of all of these extravagant kindness, generosity things that I could do, I found it exhausting just thinking about it.
Yeah, your Post-its was very exhausting.
Yes.
I'm like, what are you going to write? Where are you going to put it?
Yes, but the simple things were more doable and that I actually enjoyed doing.
Fantastic.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I felt like, oh, wow, I've come a long way from where I was, where I have to start with the basics first. So that made me aware of how far of a distance I am today versus maybe the Golda of 10 years ago. Interesting. We're getting deep now.
Hashtag growth.
Yeah. Hashtag live your best life. So anyway, that's what I learned. What about you, Wanru?
I think something very similar to you, which was the money generosity was not as effective as I thought it was going to be. Clearly, you just got to do that and not, if you want to be generous with your money, don't expect anything back. Okay? Don't even expect a thank you.
Easier said than done though, right? To say, to tell yourself, don't expect anything back.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And then what I didn't realize, I always thought that I was already very verbally generous with my affirmations and my gratitude. But since I amped it up a little bit extra, it came back like full circle, like big time. So just to give you a simple example, I was getting an ergonomic assessment at work, at my workstation, my computer. You know, the HR rep will come down and they'll look at your desk, make sure your keyboard's set up correctly, right? And at that moment, we were having some, at work, we're having some like minor construction things done. So I've been dealing with a huge team of construction people. It's always a different person every day. And then someone came to ask me a question. And in the middle of asking me the question, I said, okay, by the way, I have to go back to my ergonomic evaluation. He goes, I just wanted to let you know. The construction guy was Ed. Okay.
Mhm.
Ed goes, I just want to let you know, Wanru, our whole team likes working with you. It's so easy. You know what you're doing. And it makes it a pleasure to work with you. And I was like, oh, thanks. Because that kind of
That's
came out of the
nice.
blue.
Yeah.
And then the HR rep said, hey, she was jokingly saying, hey, I'm from HR here. Okay. Is this a setup? Like, did you like ask this guy to come and like, praise your
Their
work?
SAG.
Yeah. She even said he looks like a caricature of a construction
Isn't
worker.
he from that Dokalax commercial?
Isn't he the brawny guy? I think he's the Just for Men, the beard dye guy. He does look like that guy. But it was a little bit of a setup, right? I'm here. I'm like getting this HR evaluation. And then here he comes and he's praising me for my working style. But then looking back, I realized it's because when he does something well, I always write an email to him and to his manager and his manager.
Yeah.
And it's not really that he's going above and beyond. I just want to incentivize him to do the work faster.
Yeah. And you mean it.
And I do mean it.
You mean it.
I also genuinely mean it as well.
It's not like you're manipulating him.
Maybe. Maybe slightly. Just 2%.
Oh,
98% authentic gratitude, 2% manipulation.
Okay. Well, it's as long as it's 98%, that's fine.
98%. So that was amazing. That was so cool. And then, for Halloween, my costume was, spoiler alert, I wanted to be a Trader Joe's crew member. Yeah, I always talk about how I want to work at Trader Joe's, right?
I want to see this photo, by the way.
We will put it up on the YouTube.
Okay.
And so I had the Hawaiian shirt, but I really didn't have the accoutrements, right? I didn't really have the sample cups, and I was just kind of throwing it together. I went to my local Trader Joe's to pick up snacks.
Because you are like the supreme fan of Trader Joe's.
Exactly.
Which, if you've been listening to us for the past several episodes, you will know that Wanru just glorifies Trader Joe's.
I praise them. But they don't know that. They don't know anything about me. They don't know that I plug them every single episode, right? So I went to
They should know.
They should know. I went to Trader Joe's and I just went up and I was very, polite. I said, could I have some sample cups for my costume? And they literally went all out. They got me sample cups. They got me an apron. They gave me ideas about what to sample.
Wow. They give you ideas?
Yeah, I already had a name tag, but they said they would print me an official Trader Joe's paper name tag.
Wow.
They were going to go above and beyond, and all they wanted was a photo of me in my costume. So, they went above and beyond for me, but it's also because I think I approached them in a way that was very polite and nice as well. I try to share kindness with them, and then I got my kindness double back on me. So,
yeah. I think there's definitely value, not just for yourself, but to others when you practice kindness and generosity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, I feel like we have given, I feel changed.
Do you?
In the 2 weeks that I've been mandated to be kind.
I feel poorer, but happier.
Yes.
And isn't that the reason for living?
And I have more headaches than I did when I wasn't kind.
How about this? I will treat you to a back massage. Get out all that stress from biting your tongue.
Okay, sure.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Like crossing the finishing line after a well-earned 26-mile marathon. We've come to the end of our marathon today.
At a 6 minute per mile pace.
Woo! And our topic today was kindness, generosity, and our experimentation, our social experimentation. What did you come away with after the 2 weeks? Or even just from today?
I've learned that, being kind and generous is kind of selfish. Because we're doing it to make ourselves feel better.
Way to call it out, Wanru.
I'm going to call it out right now.
Okay.
We're selfish. But you know what?
What?
Who cares? Because you're feeling good. The other person's feeling good. I mean, if you got to be selfish, this is the way to go.
Win-win all around.
Yeah. I mean, I got to compliment a really, really attractive
Disney attractiveness on the Disney scale.
Attractive police officer,
Mhm.
hey, you know what? He felt good about what he did that day, and I felt good looking at him.
BTW, she will be. Check it out. Instagram to find out who that was.
BTW.
Heads up, police officer.
I am going to be like smashing out like my headlights and my rear blinkers and
No.
just driving around Pasadena.
Don't do
hoping
that.
Someone's going to pull me over.
We do not advocate this kind of behavior. BTW.
Okay. I'm not going to say whether I'm going to do it now or not, but Golda.
Theoretically, you might.
Theoretically, I might. Golda, what did you learn from today's episode? What will you take away?
Well, what I'm taking away here is that anytime that I give Wanru any gifts, I am going to leave the receipt tag on and not give the modest gift receipt version where it doesn't show the price. I will leave the price on the receipt and I will highlight it and put glitter and stickers on it so that she knows exactly how much I paid.
Just staple it to the outside of the bag.
Yes, and I will also write it on the card, the greeting card. Let's say for Christmas coming up soon, I will say this cost me X amount of dollars, and I did not get it at TJ Maxx. I got it at Macy's, full price.
Enjoy your NutriBullet, which I got for $199.99 plus California tax, and I did not use my Bed Bath & Beyond coupon to get this.
And by the way, it's as is, no returns or exchanges. That's what I learned. But no, seriously, what I learned from this exercise is a lot about myself, and I think I mentioned this prior, which is that kindness and generosity, the ideal for me would be to practice it on a daily basis, several times a day, and to the point where it ultimately is automatic. I don't even have to think about it anymore. And the way it stands as of today, I have to think about it, which is slightly alarming.
Not only do you have to think about it, but it's causing your body some tension as well.
Yes, when it should be the opposite, right? So I need to recalibrate.
It'll get there.
I need to recalibrate.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we went through this exercise because if anything, it's making me more aware and I can course correct. So, and hopefully in listening to us, it has inspired you to also investigate how you are practicing kindness in your daily life.
Yeah. So if you feel exceptionally kind, exceptionally generous, feel free to reach out to us. We're on every social media platform out there. And please write us a review on iTunes.
Yes. And if you haven't done so already, as Wanru mentioned, subscribe to us, like us, share our episodes. If there are bits and pieces that resonated with you, we'd love to hear about it. We'd love to see your comments. If you have any ideas for any future episodes, topics, or things that you would want us to talk about, we are wide open in terms of looking at those things. No promises, but we're open to it. As Wanru mentioned, we are on every social platform out there. We love that you listened to us today or watched us on YouTube. Don't forget, we're also on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's it, huh, Wanru?
Yeah, exactly. So feel free to share our episodes on Spotify Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher.
Yeah, and that's about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. And in the meantime, we'll see you next time. I'm Golda.
And I'm Wanru.
Be kind to one another. It's not as exhausting as
we make it sound.
Bye. Bye.